this going. This is a live listing presentation. Now, when I say live, I've got air quotes on this. Again, put your faces on. I need to see you. It makes a huge difference if I can actually see you. I've got a ton of information for you to download. Everything I talk about is yours. And I'm going to challenge you to do one thing and one thing only. Don't accept it for finished. Accept it for a great start, and it's got to be customized to you. Again, faces on. I need energy. You guys give it to me. What we're going to cover today is in the chat, and I'm going to drop it in there again for you. This is the syllabus. This syllabus for the class has a lot of links in there, and it's also going to be on the GPS Global Partners daily download page. Now, here's something else. We're actually going to upload the YouTube video that's being shot. You won't be shown on the video, by the way. It's just me, so don't worry about it. Your secrecy is safe. Nobody will see you. But the video will be uploaded to the GPS Global Partners along with the link for this attachment, which will be uploaded as well. So it's all going to be on our Facebook group too, just so you have it. And it's in GPS Global Partners inside of Workplace. So faces on, give me some energy. I'm looking at you guys. I see all of you, and I only see a couple. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Charlotte, Renee, I appreciate you all doing this. Renee looks like she's probably working out, but she's committed to it as well. God bless you. That's awesome. Angela, Virginia, Helen, great to see you. And I just got Ralph on board as well. Let's go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what the syllabus looks like, because I want you guys to get a look of what we're going to go through. And then we're going to go through each one of them. And now here's the thing. If you've got a question, raise your hand or just jump in and say, George, I've got a question. I'll get right back to you. Here's why. There's a good chance somebody else does. My mission is that you have basically the listing presentation, the pre-listing package, the marketing strategy in a box that you can present to a seller, to a client, to somebody right away. That's the goal. The whole mission is to do that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you what the syllabus looks like. Again, this is available for you in the chats. It's available in a couple of places as well. Thumbs up if you can see it. And Carolina, I have you. Can you see this on the screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. That's the wrong place. So what we're going to cover the pre-listing package. I have one for you. It is not great, but it's a good start. And it's more about the presentation than anything else. I'll explain that in a couple minutes. The listing presentation, exactly what to do. I have an example of a cost sheet. The marketing plan explained. Now, this is mission critical, because to provide our value, we have to provide an ongoing marketing strategy. And that's going to be a big difference in going forward. Everybody probably has already heard that there's more homes coming on the market. More importantly, we have homes staying on the market longer. They're not selling as quickly. If you list a property and you don't have a continuing ongoing marketing strategy, and you're not communicating that to our sellers on a weekly basis, we're going to run into problems where they're like, well, you're not doing anything. And that's not your problem, because the problem is, realistically, they're probably priced wrong, or they don't have enough features and benefits to justify their price. We still want to communicate that we are, in fact, doing our job ongoing. And that's the marketing tool, as well as explaining how we're doing it. So there is, as you'll see, this blue is a hyperlink. The pre-listing package we're going to take a look at is yours. I want you to put this together. Home improvement questionnaire, probably the most important thing for the soft close in the pre-listing package. The lead sheet listing presentation, and there is an example. I'm not going to do it for you, but this is a live presentation. I'm going to do the same thing as well. Our PowerPoint listing presentation, EXP's listing presentation, there's a group of them there. They're all customizable, as is ours. It's yours to take. The 40 top listing presentations in the world you have access to. And as I said before, the marketing checklist. This is really kind of your main listing stuff. So I wrote in here, what can you personally do? What do you want to add to, or what can you add to this? And how can we communicate this? Now, the communication tools, we're going to talk about eating the frog, what's discussed, and I'm going to show you an example of the communication tools and how that works. I'm going to show you an example of how to follow up on a weekly basis with your clients. So let's jump right into it. I am of the belief, without reservation, that you must have something that is sent out to your clients in either digital format, physical format, or in a perfect scenario, both. Now, remember, my personal belief is, and I've always done this, I used to send out a pizza box. And in that pizza box was a DVD and popcorn and 2 dices. And it was this big, and it was a pizza box. So when they got it at their door, the dice made noise, so they shook it. Consider this. We want them to open it. And now mine was kind of cheesy, not because it was pizza. It was just kind of cheesy. So fair warning on that. I would suggest that at this point, we want classy. For the record, I am not dressed for a listing presentation. Okay, I'm dressed for a conversation with you. If I'm going on a listing presentation or I'm working with a buyer, I am dressed professionally. It has become critically important for us to communicate in everything we do an incredible high level of value. That's the purpose of the pre-listing package. Now, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to go through it. Remember, it is for you to change. This is not the version that Jackie and I are currently using, but it is important that you take this or a version of this, and switch it around. Somebody please remind me about QR codes, because QR codes are huge in physical print marketing. All right, let me open up the pre-listing package. This is, by the way, this document is yours to be had. I am going to share screen and you'll see what I mean on that. Okay, so in this pre-listing package, it starts off with, and this is completely editable. You can change this around all you want to. It is a Word document that is now, it's in my Google Drive, but it's a Word document, edit as you want. The first page, what do you love most about your home? Now, that actually has to do with the home improvement checklist. This is the home improvement checklist. So I've got to stop on this. When you all see the home improvement checklist and you've seen the pre-listing, it says, what do you love most about your home? This is so important. So I send this out to them. I use a 3-ring binder, and on the front page, it's just the very front of it, because there's the plastic inserts. On the front page, it's our front page of it. And I believe it's actually on the very last page of this. We'll take a look at that in a couple of seconds. Once they open it up, that's where the list of their homes, of their home improvements is. And that's what I was talking about. What do you love most about your home? I just shared that and I gave you the Word document. I take a sticky note that looks exactly like this, although this is the note color I use when I'm sending a love note to my wife. There's another note color that I use, which is yellow. And I put it on top of that and it says, take a moment to brag about your property. Now, this is the first thing they're seeing on the other side, because it's, I have my, as soon as they open it up, it opens like this. They've got the brag about your home with a sticky note. On the other side, it's right here. What do you love most about your home and your community? And I asked them to brag on that. Now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about again. So I've got 21 pages. It talks about the breakdown of the selling process. I talked to everybody about this. This is really important. Imagine if there was a QR code right here that says before we arrive, and they can scan that QR code. And inside that QR code is, hey, I wanted to give you, excuse me. There was a quick video that opened up. It's called the dynamic QR code. It's very reasonably priced. It says, hey, it's George. I want to give you a quick idea of what a couple things we can do before we arrive. First off, why don't you read through everything in here? There's some great information. You're going to find other QR codes where I'm going to actually kind of talk you through it. But most important, I want you to brag on what's going on with your home. What have you done? And it's literally right next to me. I want to know the upgrades you've done, because I'm going to use that when I meet with the appraiser and support your value. And I need that to make sure that we can showcase your home at the highest level. Even the little things like if you painted a room, I want to know that too. Since you've owned the property, give me the tools I need to really market your home. Catch that? I'm talking to them. And defend the value when it comes time to meet with that appraiser. More on that when we meet. Thanks so much. I really look forward to meeting you shortly. Have a terrific day. Now, y'all imagine that, just the people I can see. If you're opening this up for the first time and it says brag on your home and there's a little QR code and there I am talking now, you've selected me because I'm a friend or because I was referred or because of marketing. Show of hands, who felt like that would probably create a little more of a relationship? Absolutely. Now, here's the cool part too. There's actually some soft closes in there, and this is a little bit of neurolinguistic. Now, please don't try and remember that verbatim. It's a conversation you're having, but by asking them to fill out what's on this side, as soon as they open it, the brag on your homepage, if they've filled that out, they're going to list with you. I ask for this entire package. I say, hey, by the way, do you happen to have that folder I had sent over ahead of time to provide you with information? There's some things there I'm going to want to refer to. And they say all the time, yes, we do. I have a backup in my bag just in case. This is a good point at which to put this in here. I can do two options of sending the folder. I can take the folder there. I still wrap it in a priority mail bag that I can pick up at the post office, and they're free. Now I'm going to wrap it, and I don't have a bag with me. I was going to get one, but yesterday was Easter and I forgot on Saturday, so I couldn't do it. But when you fold the bags over, they seal up very nicely. And then I would put their address on there and write their name and their address on there, and I put it by their front door. It's not mailed, but they think that it was somebody took the time to deliver it. This is important for our marketing. You might want to take a picture of the front of the house before you do anything, before you walk up, and before you put it there, because you're probably going to need to use that in some of your marketing. Okay. So we covered the QR code. We've covered that if they fill out that initial page, that is an indication that they're prepared to list with you. Let's go through the rest of this, and this part will be relatively quick. You get the idea. Again, we're on our very first page. The first thing, breakdown of the selling process. I'd probably drop a QR code right here. It is nice to put photographs inside of here. You'll have to manage through this. Right now, you can just click on this photo and delete it. It talks about determining the listing agreement, scheduling photos, offer presentation. Again, I'm going pretty quickly through this because this is for you to look at. Home myth. These are questions that buyers ask. Do you need to spend money to make money? Do you need to wait for the right season to sell your home? Pass the first offer or wait for something better? So there's a lot of Q&A in here. There's some information on staging the property. We're getting to the good part. The effectiveness of staging, current conditions, marketing. Now, my suggestion would be I would put the marketing up front and say, let's talk about it. Marketing and price are important. Now, you can figure out how to set that up. Ours will have it up there. This image right here is a great image that talks about how your property is syndicated. Everybody does that. That's not going to separate us. Okay. We're globally focused. And I would encourage you to consider this, that you can even market this and then say, okay, I'm going to join it. There's international MLS. It is powerful. In my listing presentation, I actually use that as an example that our properties convert everything, including text, to international, to, let's say, to Farsi or to Mandarin. If somebody's looking in China, it converts my text to Mandarin text, so it's not illusionary. They actually get to read what we're describing the home on. Okay, so now what we're talking about is prospecting focused here, and we're also talking about the team, how we track showings, some frequently asked questions. Again, you'll go through this, and I'm going quickly on purpose. On the back page of this 3-ring binder, the very back page is how to prepare for a showing. This explains how to prepare for a showing. Again, the home improvement is in there. You get the idea. This is the home improvement checklist. Here's another version that just Word document, so you can change it, get rid of the Sosa Philbeck, put your own in there. It's time to brag. And obviously there's some issues that I put in here. You do this yourself. So I have a pre-listing package. What else would you put in there? Perhaps a open me envelope that in there says, I'm really excited to see you and meet with you and talk about your home. It can be anything you want it to be. How do you make this better? QR codes? Absolutely. A short video explaining a certain scenario, which, by the way, you put on the YouTube channel. You then put into the QR code. I use Tiger QR Tiger. QR Tiger is who I use. QR Tiger. Would somebody type that that's got a computer that can handle it? Just type in there QR Tiger in the post for QR codes. I find it to be the least expensive, and it gives me the most dynamic QR codes. And a dynamic QR code is a QR code that I could have at, let's say, my open house. And the QR code says all the information about this home. Okay, so that QR code, I can actually change that QR codes where it directs to. And QR code or Tiger QR was the most reasonable. And I did a lot of research on this. Thank you for ever put that in there. I really appreciate Joe. God bless you, man. Thanks for your help, brother. That's a partnership. That's what I love. So take a look at that for your QR codes. Now, your static QR codes don't change. That would be in my listing presentation. It's going to be the same thing every time. And again, I'm going to say this last time, put your faces on. I want to talk to people. For all of you that do have your cameras on, thank you. It really means the world to me. It means that you're here and we're focused on it. Okay, you want to make this pre-listing package as powerful as you can. I want to talk about one thing you should probably do in marketing that's going to make a huge difference. And let's see if I can pull this up. Why won't this open? Ah, it does. Okay. So you're not going to be able to see this. I'm going to share it with you, but I took this screenshot image. I have to tell you, it's not actually my house. So I called up one of our business partners. I said, hey, would you mind if I did something? What I'd like to do is I would like to boost your property out on Zillow, or excuse me, boost your property out and get a lot more exposure. And I'm going to send you the information because I'm using it for marketing for what we do. We have a property, but it's way too high end to be kind of the generic overview property. And I didn't want to use just that. I wanted to have a property that most other people would identify with. The price point is, it's like my market, the average price point is like 500. This is a $2.4 million home. So you understand the huge difference in perception. So I needed something that kind of fit within. So I called up one of my business partners. I'm not going to mention Steve Pugh's name on camera because that'd be inappropriate. And I said, Steve, do you have a great property? He goes, yeah, I have one. He actually has quite a few. He's phenomenally talented. I said, I'd love to do this. I'd love to market the property. I'm going to boost it out. Any leads that come in, I'm going to give to you. Remember, you don't have to do that, but I did because my mission is I wanted the image. I wanted to show the difference. So I was enticing him. If I didn't know him well enough, I would definitely say that. And I'll give you some information that I'm going to send over to you, a kind of a screenshot of how the marketing works so you can showcase to your seller that you're actually pushing the property out. So here's the image I'm going to share with you real quick. Now, this is going to be a little difficult to see. This is let's see if I can make this bigger. I can't. Okay, so this is a Zillow image. It's been on the market for 6 days and or 7 days, excuse me. It has 500. You can't see it on the bottom. It's way down here, but that's what I'm going to highlight in my listing presentation. 543 views. That's Zillow's branding. I go to my Facebook. To our business page. I'm not going to go into how to create one, but yes, you need one. Our ad center. Now, remember Zillow, 543. And everybody's like, oh, Zillow's great. Zillow's cool. That's great. Here's the property. And I'm not done with it. 1,800 views. Now, this still has a couple more days. Now, I'm going to spend $70. I think, yeah, my total budget is $70. And we'll get it up to somewhere around, realistically, I'll probably stop at somewhere around about 6 or 7,000 views. Okay, and that should come out with about $70 spent on that. Here's the reason why. I'm going to have a conversation. Now, I'm going to do this first in my marketing that we do this. We can beat Zillow every time. Here's an example of Zillow on the market for 7 days. And here's my marketing after 7 days. What's the difference, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? Zillow doesn't get your home exposed as much as I do. Yes, it works, but I have different strategies and I'm much more astute in how I do this. We have a property specific web page, which actually is lead capturing. I use listings to leads. Now remember, everything costs money. I hate to say it doesn't. You don't have to do this, but you should probably do a free trial, capture what you're going to do. And when you take a listing, do this because it's property specific website. And that's really important. Listings to leads in itself is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to supplement your marketing. Please do not tell your sellers this. You can tell them everybody else does. Most people use the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are the principles for real estate professionals, air quote, doing it. They place a sign in the yard, they place it on the MLS, and then they pray. Okay. I am going to give you in just a minute an ongoing marketing plan, which will remove you from that. Okay. So question for you, Zoom user, I'm going to mute you. I think you just did. That's terrific. Thank you very much. By the way, just as a heads up, if you don't have your name on here, I'm probably going to ask you to remove you from the rooms, just so you know. All right. So I've just shown you the difference between Zillow's marketing and my marketing. Zillow does okay. Mine does amazing. That's what I'm an expert at. I'm an expert at digital marketing, at using new technologies. I don't do it the old-fashioned way of placing a sign in the yard, placing it on the MLS, and praying. Yes, my property is syndicated. That was that box that showed all the different websites on it. That's part of the pre-listing package for you. But I wanted to showcase myself differently. I would encourage property-specific websites. I would absolutely encourage that if you're listing a property, you definitely want Matterport on the home. Matterport is a 3D virtual ability to walk through a house, and it costs money. Sorry. You can't really get past that because anybody who's not seeing a property is looking at the property or not physically seeing a property is going to want to walk it online. Matterport will do that. It's a couple $100 to get that, but it is worth it. It's an investment. This is a good time for me to say this. Please do not list a property that isn't going to sell because you've overpriced it just to steal the listing. Be truthful. If you have a question on how to value properties, everybody does. There is a class inside the GPS Global Partners. And there's a class under classes and links. So if you go to the very top of it on your computer and you want it on your computer, click more, it'll say classes and links, get the password. You can message me, I'll send it to you. And there's a class on how to value properties. You should be able to pick the 3 properties an appraiser is going to, without reservation, use in valuing a home. They're going to use these 3 homes, but it's not our job to tell them that. I strongly encourage we show this to the seller and then have the seller tell us why that property wouldn't be selected. Oh, it should be. Now remember, appraisers go out by geographic area. So the closer in, the more in the community, you can't skip over the same home, the same everything, and pick one that's 2 miles away. An appraiser will never do that. You're kidding yourself. It'll mean that your contract is canceled because it won't appraise. We want to help the seller realize that. And their first thing is to understand how appraisers work. This is real important. The second is to open up your computer with them, either on Zoom, however you want to do it, and they select the 3 homes that are pending or sold. And I use pending because they're going to close shortly. Okay. They select the 3 homes that are going to be used, and then we can kind of determine the average of where that's going to be. Now, don't tell them, here's what it'll appraise for. What I always suggest is you say, here is what I believe the appraiser is going, these are the 3 homes. We both agree the appraiser is going to use these. So it's going to be an aggregate of these 3 properties. So we can assume that appraised value is relevant because 90% of the buyers that are purchasing homes, unless they're investors who want discounts, and we're not going to work on those, 90% of the buyers that are purchasing homes are going to use some form of financing. Now that takes away the investors out of the equation. The truth is 90% of the buyers are. You can use that stat if you choose to. So an appraisal is going to be relevant. Luckily, you filled out that form or that information sheet, which is going to help me fight the appraisal and help me, or not fight the appraisal, help the appraiser find the true value of your amazing home. Now we just have to determine our list price strategy. How aggressive do we want to be? For our conversation, this is important. Let's say it's $400,000. I'm just throwing out a number. And he wants to price it at $459,000. So well, we know the appraisal is going to be at $400,000. If we're to price it at $459,000, there's a real good chance that the buyers will also know, because they can use any website to realize that it's probably overpriced. And it's going to cut back on our showings, which means it's going to cut back on any competition. And more importantly, we're going to have to make some adjustments. Could we get a little more aggressive, since we know that 400 is probably the reasonable appraised value? I may be able to pick it up a little bit. And the buyer or the seller says, well, all right, how about 449? That's actually an improvement, because now you're no longer in that 4 to 450. Use it 459. It's called a major search bracket. He's in that next bracket. Try searching on Zillow. I want to look for anything that's between $374,522 up to $429. You can't. It's 350 to 400, maybe 400 to 425. That's a major and a minor search bracket, the big one. So think about it from this perspective. He's at 459. So, well, the appraisal is going to be at 400. I think if we, I'm going to fight for every dollar, but 459 is pretty aggressive. And we know that if we get an offer on that at 459, even if somebody said we're going to, and remember, we just looked at that, there's 30 other homes available in this price point, which I show them when we're sharing our computer screen. And there's some that are bigger that are offered for less. I think we probably need to be a little more competitive. You got a great home and I love it, but I want to make sure we get it. This is my normal conversation. By the way, I practice this. Please, for the love of everything holy and good, practice this as well. You don't want to have your first practice be on a call where you are going to walk with or without $10,000 in commission, using a round figure. Please, please practice this. Okay, it is so important. Once you get it built, start your practicing. Okay, let's carry on with this. I have no idea where I was. Oh, we're talking about the listing presentation, about the value of it. So I'm going to try and get him to at least the 4 to 425 range. That's a minor search bracket. It's better than 449 for sure. And if he says, well, 435, if I really feel comfortable that I'm going to sell it, which means he's highly motivated, I may concede to 435. I said, I'll tell you what, though, and I'm going to write this down, and we're going to both sign off on this one, that if we don't get 3 to 5, we don't get 5 showings a week, and over the course of 2 weeks, don't get at least 2 offers or 1 offer for every showing, that we agree to reduce the price to 420, to adjust the price. My mistake, adjust the price to $425,000, so that we're in a minor, or so we're closer to the bracket we need to be in. I am putting this entire syllabus, I've just dropped it again in the chat, just as a heads up for y'all. It will be in the GPS Global Partners Facebook group. If you're not a member of that Facebook group, put in the chat, I'm not a member, and we'll send you a link so you can actually, it's a public group, so you can go join it. It's GPS Global Partners Facebook group. The YouTube video that we're shooting, you won't be seen. None of you will be seen. It's just going to be me. As well. Thank you, Joey. Joe just dropped it in there, as well as this document is going to be in there as well. So there's lots of places you can get this. I don't want you to think, oh, it's one and done and I can't get it, baloney. I want you to have this because there's great information in here for you. All right. So I'm at the property and I put the value in front of it. But what I normally do is I walk in the property. See where I have that. And I show up early, I'm dressed appropriately, and here's the live listing presentation and a much, much quicker version. But first, let's make this where you guys can see it. Okay, perfect. That'll work in just a second. So I knock on the front door. How are you? So great to see you. Thank you so much. Did you happen to get the information I sent to you? Oh, terrific. You know what I'd love to do, what normally happens right now, and I normally tell them what happens, is if you don't mind, if you the booklet that I sent you, there's some information in there that I want to use while we're walking through your property. And I would love for you to showcase your home to me to kind of give me an idea of it. Now, if it's a high D personality, give them the choice. High D is a driver. Somebody says, come in, let's sit down, let's talk. You have to read your people. I have a lead form that turns into a listing. It is called the listing. It's called the lead sheet, or excuse me, lead sheet listing. And it's in this syllabus, and I'm going to share it with you right now. I use this pretty exclusively. There's a big L and there's a big Q. Listen, 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 ask questions. Here's the appointment time. It says the name of the person on it. This is all the first page of a 2-page document. What kind of personality? Are they a D, an I, an S, and C? Use your best judgment. For those of you who don't know, I would strongly encourage that you do your own research on the DISC profiles or personality profiles. I'm very fluent with the DISC profiles, so I like to know what type of personality they are, because when I show up at their house, I am going to mirror and match what I expect they are. Here's a great example. I'll give you this real quick. Called me up, said, hey, listen, I want information about selling my home. Terrific. He's talking pretty quick. Okay. So I know he's either a D or an I personality. If they talk faster, D or I. If they talk slower, S and C. Now, you can apply this to any personality profiling that you like to do, but the bottom line is I have a pretty good idea. He goes, I need to get this sold. I want it sold in 1 week. When can you come out and meet with me? Okay. That's a high D. They are just right to the point. They're like, well, my wife and I were thinking of selling. We love the neighborhood. It's just terrific. We've got so many great friends here, but it's time for us to move. We want to get home to our family because we really miss our family. Okay, they're talking fast and they're talking about love and feelings and emotions. They're probably a high I personality. There's 2 different conversations that are going to occur that I would have with each one of those. And I'm going to give you a quick showcase of that because I think we've got a couple minutes to do so. Let's say I've circled the D personality type. So I'd love to walk through your property. I want to take some notes so we can sit down, we can get right to the details and get that done. Shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes. Would that be acceptable to you? A high D personality is going to be like, you're singing my song, let's do it. An I personality would be like, oh, I can't wait to see your home. I just get this feeling that it's going to be so cool and it's so beautiful. I bet you probably entertain a lot. And I'm going to talk more and cater more towards them. By the way, your listing presentation shouldn't take longer than 30 seconds. Can you bring, or 30 minutes? Can you bring me the information I sent to you? Yes, they bring it. So I have my clipboard, and on my clipboard is this document that I'm actually showing you right now with the first and the second page. And I said, that's great. And I put the binder here, but of course I open it up first. I look, and they filled out the list of upgrades. I said, thank you so much. I'm going to take this out and I want to use this as I'm taking some notes. Now, this first page is all about follow-up. By the way, here are the important questions. We'll be checking the records, but they can be wrong. I'd love to just double check some of the home information as well as mechanicals. How many bedrooms do you have? 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,100 square feet. There's no pool. How old is your roof? 15 years. Well, that's a problem in Florida that we're going to have to cover. Not wherever you are, but I know it is in Florida. How old is your AC? Not very old. It's only 24 years old. The house is 24. It's original, but it's a good AC and it still works. Okay, I know I probably got an issue. How many garages? Any improvements you made? Now, I'll be sending over some useful information prior to seeing the home. Now, this is not to scale. If you want to, I don't do this anymore, grade your home's curb appeal. How does it rate in the community? And when I blew this up, it looks a little wonky. So you're going to have to download this to Excel or whatever you use and make it formatted properly. If you could wave one, really important. When do you want to close? When would you like to have cash being wired to you for your property? It's April 1st. No April Fools for you today. I may hold off and give them to you later on in the thing. So let's say he says, well, I really need to be there by June 15th. We all know that it takes at least 30 days to close on, or 30 days to go from contract to close. So we're really going now June 15th, May 15th. I've got 45 days and it's going to take me 7 days to get the property properly ready. So really, I'm not at 45 days. I'm at about a month. And the average time on market is now 2 months. I'm going to need to be a little more aggressive to get him his number one priority, which is we have to be sold by then. that make sense? You want to know that number or that date because it is extremely important. All right, let's carry on. I'm going to try and keep this at no more than 1 hour for you because you guys are awesome. Any notes from the call? Okay. So this from right here, what stays and what's included, additional items, and then what happens next, and then the notes. That is page 2. So I'm just going to keep it right here and start it at that. Now I'm walking through the property. I say, hey, if you don't mind, I want to ask a couple questions. I'm assuming the refrigerator, the range, and the dishwasher and the oven, and obviously the disposal are going to stay. What about the freezer in the garage? No, that's not staying. Okay, so this is stay. That's not stay. I'll check that off. I'm going to check these off. I'm literally putting pen to paper. I'm taking notes on my clipboard while I'm holding it. And I said, okay, great. Now, tell me about you painted this. Which of the 2 rooms you painted this one? Oh, I see that. I love the crown molding. Was it here? No, it wasn't. Oh, great. Crown molding was added too. That's a big deal because we're going to use this. This is a soft close. I'm going to use this list and I'm going to have it retyped up really nicely. And I'm going to meet the appraiser at the property and make sure they know all the upgrades so we can increase the appraised value of the home. And this list is a big help. Thank you very much. They almost always will say, oh, that's great. They've just agreed to work with you. Y'all letting that sink in? They got your pre-listing package. I'm gonna stop for a second. This is important. I'll go through the rest of it. They got your pre-listing package. They opened it up. They filled everything out in there. They filled out what you needed. You're walking through the home. You've obviously confirmed the appointment the day before or that day to make sure that your appointment's there. Don't assume, confirm. Be a couple minutes early. Knock on the door. Literally do this. Take 3 steps back. Stand here with your back to them. When the door opens, turn around and greet them, walk in and shake their hand. The reason I say it's important to do it that way, if you are like me, pretty big man, it's intimidating. Give them that space. Don't invade it. Go 3 to 5 feet back. Turn your back to the door. Wait for the door to open and then turn around and introduce yourself with a big smile. I always say this. Thank you so much for having me over. I said I'd be here at 3 and it's a minute or 2 before 3 because I'm never going to be late for you. I am excited to see your home. May I come in, please? Yes, of course you can come in. Hey, I happen to send you over some information ahead of time. Did you have a Sorry, allergies. Did you have a chance to take a look at it? Oh, I did. Is there any chance, was what normally happens next is I'd love to walk through the property and I'm going to take some notes and I really want to take a look at some of the things you've done since you've owned the home. Is there any chance that I could take a look at that folder I sent over to you? Oh, for sure. They bring it over. I said, oh, thank you so much for filling out that information. Hey, I noticed you didn't fill out the information about the upgrades. Do you mind if I take some notes on upgrades as we're walking through the home? Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do that. Back to my clipboard. I'm walking through the property. Let's go back to what we're looking at. So I go with what stays. I'm going to ask them questions. When is your garbage? I'm going to make sure I communicate that with the buyers so that they don't have any extra questions. Do you own the alarm system? Is there a water softener? Are you on septic or sewer? Where was your last clean out? We'll get to the price range and the list date in a little bit. Now I go and say, well, why don't we have a seat at the kitchen table? I'm going to do my value proposition. I said, why don't we take a look at what's going on as far as the value of your home? We go through the value of their home and we determine kind of where that price range is going to be, hence price range. And they've already told me, you said to me that on the 15th is when you'd like to have that closed. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, great. At some point, we're going to have to determine what day we want to have that put on the market. Most people want to know what would happen next. May I please explain that to you? This is really important. Most people want to do what most people do. Most people want to know what the next step looks like. May I please explain that for you? Now, folks, a couple things. First off, this entire syllabus is dropped in here. It's going to be at GPS Global Partners along with this YouTube video, which won't show you, will just show me. And the syllabus will be there too. So everything we're talking about from the pre-listing package to the lead sheet to my listing presentation to EXP's presentation, they're available for everybody. It's yours. You have no excuse not to have this. I have sent this pre-listing package out. I showed up at the door a minute or two early. I knocked on the doors. I just did a couple seconds ago. I've gone into the house. I've asked for the pages that I've sent them. They had them filled out or they didn't have them filled out. I bring them along with me. We walk through the property. We have reviewed on the very top part of what stays, what doesn't stay, as well as upgrades they've done on the property. I've asked them about their septic and their garbage and everything else. And then I say, and then we've done our value proposition, which is, or not our value proposition, excuse me, our discussion on the price point of the home, where we pick the 3 properties an appraiser is going to use. And we literally use the MLS for doing this. If you don't have a smartphone that's got a hotspot, get one. Because you don't want to ask them, can I borrow it? And make your computer open it up. I actually use my iPad. They see the other side. I see my side. I said, which one of these is the one you're picking? They can point to it. I know which one we're talking about. They pick the 3 homes. We have our range. And I said, okay, well, where are you thinking? And they're going to tell us where they're thinking as far as price. That's where you do your work. I am probably 15 minutes into this presentation at most. Okay. Now remember, on the back, it explains about how showings go and everything else. Let's go back to the checklist. Most people want to know what happens next. May I go with it? They said, yes. Well, absolutely. Okay. So the very first thing is you have to authorize my marketing, which is the paperwork. And that's actually in the back of this folder. I've got a complete list. I have one set up. I can send over to you in a couple seconds. And it's simple. You're basically giving me authorization to market the property, determined based on the price you determine. Photos, time frame. So I have to ask you, you said you wanted to be closed on June 15th, and we agreed that it probably makes sense we do this a little quicker. What day would you like me to have the photos scheduled? I could probably have somebody here to do it professionally, because I use a professional photographer, as I covered in that binder in my marketing, or in the email that I sent you that has everything in it as well. I spent a lot of time working on it, pre-listing package, which is so freaking important because it really talks about everything my listing presentation would. So you've already seen that. When would you like to have the photos? Well, today's Monday. I think by Wednesday would be good. Great. Is there a time that's best? You want to do the morning or the afternoon? Actually, let me check the weather. Turns out, and I happen to know this, Wednesday's a little overcast. Would it be possible if we pushed it off till Thursday, and maybe we did a 10 o'clock in the morning Thursday shoot? Would that be okay? Oh yeah, that's perfect. You just got the listing. They've already agreed to it. So I'm going to introduce you to my staff. You may have a transaction coordinator. I hope you have a transaction coordinator. There may be a significant other, somebody. If you don't have a staff, get rid of it. The sign install, I'm going to have a sign placed in the front yard which showcases the home. It'll be some information on there as well, and it gives me the ability to capture more buyer interest in there. I was thinking I was going to place it right in the center of the front yard. Is that acceptable? Yes, that is. Great. On the back of it, we talk about, or inside of this, the information I sent, we talk about the purpose of a lockbox. I brought one with me. They're bulletproof and they're the safest way. Are you comfortable if we put one of these on the front door? And here's the cool part. I'll know the second somebody opens it, and I actually start texting them when an agent's opening the property, and I'll walk you through exactly how to do it. In fact, there's directions on the back of how to do a proper showing, so that it's super convenient for you. And then obviously scheduling showings. Now, once your property's active, the first showing's not real. It's going to be me testing it so that we both understand how this works. I don't want you to leave till they arrive. I explain that in detail. Thrust of it is, real estate agents say they'll be here between 1 and 2. Pay attention. They're always late. I'm not, but every other agent out there is. I don't want you leaving the house and inconveniencing you until they arrive, and then I explain what to say. What to say is exactly this. Say, listen, I'll vacate in just a second. Do me a favor. Why don't you open up the lockbox and get the key out for me, which proves they're a real estate agent with a super key. And I'll get out of your way. Now, I'm going to let them know, Susan, or whoever I'm speaking to, that we'll let every agent know that the seller may be present at time, and please allow them a moment or two to vacate the property. That's how we're going to handle it. So weekly feedback, showing feedback. Are you okay with open houses? No. Good choice. Yes. Good choice. Ask the question. Don't make the assumption unless you're the owner of the house, and you're not. Follow their directions. Offer instructions. We have very specific offer instructions we put in there. I've done this many times. For all of our offers, we attach an offer instruction sheet. I didn't have one included in here. I'm sorry. We'll get one to you later, but the bottom line is we ask for appraisals or inspections to be done within 7 days, appraisals completed and turned in 14 days, and loan approval in 21 days. And you understand the value to a seller as opposed to waiting 30 days for the appraisal and the loan approval. We put time frames in there. Appraisal is not in our state contract, so we wrote it in because we want the buyer moving things along. And we are obviously going to, on offer scrutiny, we actually call the lender beforehand. The offer presentation will take care of that. What happens in weekend offers, you can figure that part out. Contract accepted. We have key dates and transactions. I go through all of this. I said, so this sounds to, so how does this all sound to you? And their answer is, that's pretty cool. I'm 30 minutes in. Okay. The only thing that I'm missing at this point is you have not told me where you want to price your home exactly. Can you give me a comfortable number to do this? Yes, I can. Okay. What's the number? Great. That's your listing presentation. By the way, that very last part, I'd probably work on that. I don't think that's really great. We can do better. We talked about it. Are you comfortable if we place the home on the market? Yes, I am. Terrific. All right. What price should we start this marketing off at? Now, I covered in here that marketing is critical. This is the thing I wanted to cover for you, and it's called a marketing checklist. This is for you as well. Now, I'll share it real quick. And we're going to open it up to questions. This is a simple Excel spreadsheet. That's all this is. There are, if I click on one of these cells, there are formulas in here. Now you can copy this if you open it up and save it. This is the property listing date. Here's an open house date, which triggers different things, and adjustments, which triggers different marketing activities. First open house is scheduled. That's 4 days beforehand. So I put that in there because I've got marketing that comes from this. And I'm going to tell you, most of this comes from listings to leads because I like very much how it's in one place and it gives me a lot of good tools. I'm going to make sure that 2 days before the listing date, which is I'm listing this on the 4th, will be on the 2nd, that the sign in the yard is done. The first open house teaser video is done 2 days ahead of time where I'm in front of the house, probably when we're doing photos. First open house ad or Facebook ads, a rider on the sign is ad listing, blah, 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 blah. You start going through all of this and you see it. Now, here's the cool part. 4 days in, International MLS has sent a link to the seller. 14 days. National EXP listing site. That is our flex listing where we're putting it there. The seller gets it. I'm starting a second round of Facebook ads. This is where a price adjustment conversation comes in. The international listing is live after 21 days. Letters to 100 homes, which are written in hand, or letters that are handwritten, sent out to 100 homes. Said, here, I take a picture of it. Here's 100 different letters I'm sending out to all the people to invite them to have their neighbors and their family or their families and friends move into this amazing net. I want the seller seeing I'm still doing things. Set the second open house date, third Facebook ads. Facebook video adjustment. This is for the price adjustments, which will auto-populate in there. This isn't complete, but what this is a strategy that over the next 6 to 8 weeks, I am constantly doing something that I can talk about. And I do that every single week. We call it Eating the Frog, and I'll finish with this on Wednesdays. So here's what Eating the Frog looks like. I use a software called Snagit, TechSmith, and this is an app called Snagit. So I'm going to ask you to watch this. I will need somebody to give me a thumbs up that you can hear the audio, please. Wait. This is an example of how I would use Snagit and also the tech tools. And I use this in my listing presentation on a regular basis, or on my listing follow-up on a regular basis. And let me show you what I'm talking about. If I were doing this as an example for there we go. If I were using this as an example and I wanted to do my weekly update with the client, I'd have a conversation. I'm just going to pretend that's the case. Hey, Gary, it's George Philbeck. I wanted to touch base about the homes we have now. We noticed that this one went pending just a couple of days ago, and you and I already spoke on that one. I don't see anything else in here that is a concern. This is exactly the same search parameters I would be using when I am doing the listing valuation. I would keep that, I would save that. I would also send it to them as an automatic email so that they get updated anytime something new comes in. But I changed the date so that it shows only the new properties that are coming on the market as of listing date going forward that are pending, which means we didn't get the contract, somebody else did going forward, and sold, I still go back 180 days. Just as a footnote, I want to give you a heads up.
I understand why that one went under contract. Let's take a better or closer look at that, because I think it's important that we take a look at some of the features and benefits of this property. So
I'm showcasing the home live to them.
To see that, with the vaulted ceilings and the hardwood floors that they have in there, they've done a lot of upgrades on this home, a little more than we currently have on ours. And so that's why I understand that one went first. I'm a little freaked out because I think that this price point is a little on the low side. I know we're priced at $340,000. I think we're priced a little bit high. They went so quickly because it was underpriced, in my opinion. However, this is going to be a real comparable, and we may have an appraisal issue at $340,000.
Did y'all hear that? My conversation said that this one, because it sold at 325, that was the assumed sale because it was 0 days on the market. That's how we find it in the Central Florida area that I'm in. And I have said in a weekly update, which I emailed to my client, I said, listen, this one sold at 425. It's going to be an appraisal issue when we put ours under contract. And this is actually going to bring our appraised value down just a little bit. We got to be aware of that. I'm having these conversations. I'm not having, I recommend we reduce the price. That is a phone call, but I am having informative conversations.
What I want you guys to see more than anything is that this gives me the ability to communicate in real time while having a conversation. Now, it's a little bit awkward the way I was talking now because it wasn't a real search and I wasn't fully prepared for it. But that's the power of Snagit. That's the power of this tool. And I'm going to save this, and what we're going to be looking at is something called a screencast. I can text it, email it, and it saves automatically. It's worth the money to me, particularly in all communications. Footnote as well, I also use this for training purposes, just like this.
So I'm still talking in there, and I use this for training purposes. I train my virtual assistant using Snagit. The software is under TechSmith, and it's under communications tools, and it's called TechSmith. Folks, your listing presentation, you should be there for 30 minutes. If you're there for 2 hours, you didn't get the listing. You need to send out a pre-listing package. The one I've given you is marginally good at best. You need to make it your own and make it extraordinary. I would spend most of my time and energy on my pre-listing package, communicating my ongoing strategy for marketing that makes me stronger than Zillow and everybody else. And I've given you tips in here on how to do that. And it doesn't cost much because it's one and done. You do it, and now it's part of it. We've talked about QR codes and you creating deeper relationships by using that. You're going to find that once you're, and for the record, every one of you is going to go, I'm not real comfortable on video at some point. Okay, y'all can see me. See that dot right there on my nose, that big red dot? It's been there forever. Okay. It's hideous. If the camera gets it just right, it looks like I got a big old pimple on my nose. I can't get rid of the damn thing. I don't wear makeup. It doesn't go away. I look like crap. Videos that I was taking, I don't know, a couple months ago, was 245 pounds. All right. I got no hair. My teeth are crooked. See that? Do it. Every one of you has something that you're going to bring a value. I want you to get, boy, did I just call out all of my flaws. I hope Jackie's not watching this, right? If she ever figures it out, I'm in Dutch. Bottom line is, don't worry about that. You're the only one that cares. But video is so important. QR codes, particularly, and it was Tiger. Joe did this for, I think Joe dropped it in there. Joe, yeah. Joe, do me a favor. Yeah, QR code. Let's redrop that one more time. GR code dash Tiger. Anyway, Joe, drop that in there in the GPS Global Partners page as well, if you would. In there is a link underneath it. So all of this will be there. Your pre-listing package has to be extraordinary. It's really got the meat of it. Now, obviously, what you have in your pre-listing package can be very quickly turned into a live listing presentation. If, oh, I haven't had a chance to look at it. So you can go through this and you could scan the QR code using your iPad and say, well, here's the video. Why don't we just play this video so you can watch it? Because this is an important one. The first one is probably the most important. That upgrade checklist is great. Asking the questions ahead of time is important. Everything we've covered. Now what you'll need to do is you'll need to do some work. If you're planning on being in real estate, now let's talk about the market. If you're planning on being in real estate, the real estate market is about to thin out, and the people that are still here are going to do more transactions per person than previous because it's freaking people out who aren't willing to do the work. Now, I mean this with the absolute greatest amount of respect. If you have a big enough why, you'll do whatever it takes. Coming from faith, God said to Noah, said, build an ark. Everybody laughed at him, said, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. His big why was, God said to do this. It's going to save your children. There's other people that have a huge why, which is, in my case, I left a job that was a very well-paying job as the general manager of a high-end seafood restaurant. Not going to mention McCormick and Schmick's name. That'd be inappropriate. And I had no choice because at the time my wife didn't work. I had 2 children. I had a brand new baby mortgage and my insurance and everything else was through this. And I can't work for that guy, Dave Jenkins, because he was just a horrible human being. And I refused to work for a man that solicits my 18-year-old servers at 65 years old. Oops, was that out loud? Screw you, Dave. Anyway, bottom line is I didn't have a choice. That was my big why. I had to be successful in real estate. And I did stuff that nobody else would do. I did the things that made me very uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, in this case, going on camera with a big old, what looks like a pimple, no hair, bald and fat. You have to figure out why you're going to do it. And then you need to just say, I'm going to do it. And you better build that listing presentation, that pre-listing package, and make it excellent and practice it. Practice it a lot. And you will find that this turns into the most rewarding industry, period. Your job is to help people. And here's the part that you're not going to get, but it's true. I believe in you more than you do, because I already know that high school dropouts with a sophomore education can accomplish whatever they put their mind to, even with crooked teeth. So can you. By the way, I did go to college afterwards. I'm just throwing that out there. After I went to the Army, I went to college. I'm not just a complete joke. You can do it, but it's going to take hard work. It's going to have to show up on your schedule. You're going to have to say, I'm going to make this better. I'm going to make it better than it is right now. And if you make it better than I've already given it to you, this is most of the hard work done. Now you got to tweak it. You got to make it personalized, make it yours. And get out of your own way, because you deserve to get out of your own way. You can do this. And if you do, you will be successful at a level that is very potentially beyond your realm of comprehension. In a couple of years, you could literally buy an airplane. I'm not kidding. I mean, not a big one. I'm talking about a little Cessna 172, but you can buy, they're only $40,000. So you could do it. I know. I looked at one my 3rd year in real estate. I was going to buy one. God, I did. You can do this. All right. Normally at 9:30, I'm done because I'm prospecting. That is my #1 focus. For the record, for all of you, since you're all on here, I want you guys to hear this. This is real important. All of our calls are going back to 8:30 in the morning. We have a call on Monday. We have our team meeting on Tuesday at 8:30. It'll be the exact same link you have. We've stopped the 1 o'clock because we wanted to make sure that we gave it to you when you needed it. The team meetings are awesome. It's an update of what's going on inside our brokerage, what's going on in the real estate market, what's going on in the industry as a whole. It's 30 to 45 minutes of high intensity. Get your information, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central Time. Feed your brain, and then get out there and get the work done. God bless Fred DeFalco, the Godfather. I love that man. He is taking a couple of months off. He wants to do some things. So we've got Wednesdays open at this point. I am going to call on some people that are really good at social media, and I think we could probably have them hop on those calls. And those are definitely, don't miss. Same link, same everything. Thursday is Black Belt Mastermind. That is dialed in for high-level producing real estate agents. So show up anyway if you're not, because we're going to focus on bringing massive value by bringing in people like Diana Kokoska, or last week we had Glenn Sanford, the CEO of eXp Realty, talking about a lot of great stuff. And we're going to do those again at 8:30. And then on Friday at 8:30, Rich Gannon, who's a real estate coach, runs a big team, was a team leader with KW for quite a while, is absolutely brilliant. It's an Ask Anything Friday. It will have a topic. You'll see that in the text message, but it's going to be focused very specifically on anything you need to know. We don't care who you are. You can run a team of 50 people. You got a question, we're going to get you the answer. While Rich is talking, if he doesn't have it, somebody's researching it, because you will have a place to get every answer you need. And lastly, and not least by any means, there's a group of 15,000 of us, which is a bunch of larger groups coming together to assure that we have additional resources available for you as far as real experience, proof, and strategies to continue to move your business in 3 different levels. The emerging agent, the brand new agent, we want to focus our energies on that. dramatically. We're also focusing our energy on agents who's doing anywhere from 10 to 20 and wants to double their business. What does that look like? What marketing works? What strategies work? What's currently working in negotiating? And then we've got a whole group of people who are really doing very well, and they want to start adding teams. Well, okay, you can do what I did and screw it up for 2 years and spend a lot of money, or you can follow the examples of people who have done that, who have built teams, who have built businesses and second ancillary businesses off of real estate. Our goal is to make you freaking awesome. And look around the room. Some of you won't put the work in. Being truthful. You're going to say, no, it's too much for me. I don't want to do it. I get that. I do. The transaction size will probably drop down a little bit, not much at all. But the idea of it is going to scare people. So go back to your big why. I'm asking you as a favor because you're important. What's the big why? What's the thing that makes you say, I'm going to do it? I'm going to get up. I'm going to do the hard work. I'm going to follow my schedule. Whatever that big why is, that is going to help you propel. And Krista, God bless you, Miss Kohler. That is very nice to hear. God bless you for the high compliment. She's like, great call, George. We love Krista. You're awesome. You got this, and we got your back. A shit. Who are we kidding? I swear all the time. A shit ton more coming your direction. For anybody I offended with that, I made it through an entire call without cussing. That's kind of a big deal at this point. And for the big calls, the ones that are important, I sit here and I drink coffee out of my big deal mug. There's an inside joke there, which I'll tell you all at a later time. So I'm going to finish this with a key to database. The absolute positive key to database is just this. Go out there and tell somebody you love them, that they're important, that they actually matter. That's database in a nutshell. Now, here's the cool part. You probably got to change somebody's life, and you'll definitely make their day better. And on the other side of it, you're going to make your day better. Now, imagine you spoke to 7 people a day with a singular purpose, where my entire thing was, Miss Angela Jordan, I just wanted you to know I think you are awesome, and I am positively impacted by you daily. I follow you on social media, and what you just did with your XYZ PDQ last week in that restaurant was amazing. Tell me more about it. And she starts telling me, and she said, and we had the eggplant rollatini. I loved that. Was it any good? Yes. And she continues to talk, and we have conversations. And I'm going to have a 10-minute conversation and make sure that Angela knows that I think she's awesome. I'm finishing with Angela. I hate to do it. I got to run. I just want you to know I freaking think you're awesome, and you actually make my day better. That is how you build your database, and that's how your database gives you referrals. And when you hang up and say goodbye, she could be like, I just had the nicest call from the nicest guy in the world. I love George. He's wonderful. Never talked about me. Not at all. We talked about her. Talk about them. Try that with a significant other. They'll be like, why are you being so romantic today? And don't talk romance. Talk about them and what they did. And why? What happened? Why are you in such a good mood? Because you talk about them. That's it. The Zillow house you advertise. Yes, you like that. Judith, that, yes. The Zillow house I advertise. Pick a house and advertise it on Facebook. That was you. I wanted to make sure I gave Judith the attention she deserved on that one. Pick a house that somebody has listed that's with our group. Let them know. Say, listen, I'm going to boost it out on Facebook. I want to see if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to borrow it. I'll boost it. I'll send you the image of all the boosting that's done. Any lead that comes in, especially if you don't know them, any lead that comes in will go directly back to you. I am simply using this as you've got a beautiful house, and I want to make sure everybody understands that I do market on Facebook. It's important for me to showcase this, and it won't cost you a penny. There's nothing involved in it for you. Would that be acceptable to you? And they'll say yes almost every time, especially because they're friends of ours and we're in the same brokerage. You need to have that where it shows Zillow 500, my marketing 1800. Now, do you want to put your energy into Zillow, or do you want me to get your home exposed at a much higher level? No, boosting from Zillow is not better than doing it from KV Core. I boost from Facebook. That's a great question, you. Thank you so much for asking that, because they needed to know that. So folks, what I do is I go into KV Core and I search for that listing by MLS, because in KV Core, you know what? I'm going to show you this, because this is really important. Stick with me. Joe, keep recording on this. We'll turn it off in a couple seconds, but I think this is kind of relevant. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on, well, I'll show you how I could do it, how you can do it on Facebook. I would enter the MLS number in, but I don't have it, so we're going to have to do it a different way. You've got this tab in your KV Core that says listings. So if I click on it, I can go company listings. Or I can go my listings, and I'll use my listing. And this is the listing I was telling you about, the big one. This is the direct link to this listing, so I'm going to copy it. And if I were to go to the listings and then, there we go, company listings, I've already copied the direct link that's in the listing. I could do the same thing, and I'll click on this one, and then there's the direct link. Now I'm going to go up to my Facebook in my business page. What's on your mind? I'm going to paste that link. Wait for it. There's the property. I can then delete this and put in steal this home. And then I can boost it. First, I have to post it, then I'll go in and boost it. I'm not going to do it because I already have it done. When I do that, it'll go to my ad center. I'll leave that. And then in my ad center, I can pick the different things. This is the one I boosted. By the way, my reach on this one was $68, is 8,000 people. And I'm going to show this. It's almost done because I think we're spending the 75. So my ad is almost completed. This is kind of relevant. Zillow has reached 1,600. I reached 8,000. You can't see it, but it's right down there. This is Zillow's reach. And by the way, just as a footnote, I obviously took the image after a couple of days, but it is representative of exactly the same. If I'm doing a property that's on the market for about 5 days, I would take a snapshot of Zillow's reach for 5 days, and then I would probably take, when I got permission to boost it, I would boost Kirsten. Hey, Kirsten. I'd boost Kirsten's listing out. I said, can I use this one? She says, yes, you can. I'd send her all the information, and I would boost that out for, let's say, $75 for 5 days. All of a sudden, boom, she's got on Zillow 750, and we have now, she can also show her seller, because I'm going to send her that image, that it was boosted out, but it's not 750, that the showings that she received, should she decide to show that to him, was 3,550. I just want you to know we're not satisfied with Zillow. We go our own way. So keep the numbers kind of the same when you're doing that. Hold on. Anyway, let's open it up for questions. This is such an important topic. Joe, we can turn off the recording at this point, if he hasn't already, and thank you for everything.